In this video, I will explain what are the preferences of Monolix. To access the preferences in the interface of Monolix, it is necessary to first load a project. They can then be found in Settings, Preferences. Different options can then be changed that affect the way the projects are run and saved. The preferences are not specific to a project, so if I change any option here, it will apply to all Monolix projects in the future. On the left panel, unselecting Use Relative Path permits to save the project using absolute instead of relative path. I will show the consequence on the text file defining this project. On the left, this is the project saved with the default preferences. The line defining the path to the dataset contains a relative path, which is located in a folder called Data next to the project. On the right, the same project saved after unselecting the preference for relative path now contains an absolute path to the dataset. Because the model is taken from the PK library, the path is the same for both files. But the export path to the result folder is also different. On the middle panel, different options are available. On the top, the number of threads used for parallel computations on the same machine, for example, for computing the structural model for all individuals or the simulations for the plot, is displayed. This number is set by default to the number of cores or virtual cores of the machine when Monolix is used for the first time. It thus depends on the hardware of the machine. In my case it is 4 because my computer has 4 virtual cores. Decreasing this value will decrease the speed of Monolix computations, but can be useful to free some processing power for other applications. Notice that this parallelization is also available for Simulix and MLexplore, and the number of threads can be changed in their configuration files. Save History is an option that allows to store the result of each run of Monolix for some project in a subfolder. For example, let me run some tasks with this preference. Then change the residual error model, save the project with the same name, and run again. Then I can open the result folder that is accessible, for example, with this icon in the Results tab. All the results of the first run that were saved here have been overwritten by the second run, except the subfolder History that contains both results, along with the project as it was saved at the time of the run. So this allows me to keep track of the different versions of the project over time, including their results. The next option, High DPI Scaling, is used to adapt the size of the interface to the screen resolutions. Note that for some screen sizes, it has to be kept unselected to avoid a zoomed interface. The third panel in Preferences is dedicated to saving the plots generated in Monolix. By default, the plots are not saved systematically with the results, because saving them as images takes some time and some disk space. They can be saved one by one with a button in the tab Plots, but these Preferences options also allow to export automatically all the plots after each run as images, or to export the charts data used in the plots as tables. Different formats for the images and tables are available. If I select both options and then run the task Plots, the interface browses through the plots to save them. I can now find all the plots in the Results folder in the subfolder Chart Figures, and the corresponding data as text files in the subfolder Chart Data. They have also been saved for the last run in History. Notice that in the case of the usage of Monolix without the interface, using the R connectors or by command line, the charts data will be exported, but not the plots, as there is no interface to generate them. That's it for Preferences. See you next week for another feature of Monolix.